Matthew chapter 24. Jesus left the temple and was walking around when his disciples came to him, and he said to them, "Truly I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Everyone will be thrown down." As Jesus was sitting opposite the temple, Peter, James, John, Andrew asked him privately, "Tell us," they said, "when will these things happen, and what will be the sign that they're all about to be fulfilled?" Jesus answered, "Watch out that no one deceives you. Many will come in my name, claiming I am he, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you're not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you'll be handed over to be persecuted, and you'll be hated by all nations because of me. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other, and many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will go cold. All men will hate you because of me, but he who stands firm to the end will be saved. When you see the abomination that causes desolation spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Then let those from Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one in the field go back to get his cloak. Let no one on the housetop go back to get anything out of the house. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. If those days had been cut short, no one would survive, but for the sake of the elect whom he has chosen, he has shorn them. At that time, if anyone says to you, "Look, here's the Christ," or "There he is," do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and miracles to deceive even the elect if that were possible. See, I've told you everything ahead of time. So if anyone tells you, "Look, here he is," or "There he is," do not believe it. For as lightning that flashes even in the west, when it strikes, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever there is a carcass, there the vultures will gather. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. At that time, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the nations on the earth will mourn from him when he sees the Son of Man coming in clouds with power and great glory. And he will send his angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. Now learn this lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs is tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see these things happening, you know that it is near, right at the door. I tell you the truth, this generation will not certainly pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. But about that day or hour no one knows, not the angels of heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people are eating and drinking, marrying and getting in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people are eating and drinking, marrying and getting in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And then the flood came and took them all away. Two men will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. Two women will be grinding with a handmill, one will be taken and the other left. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what time of night his master was coming, he would have stayed watch and been ready. So you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour you are not aware of. Who then is a faithful and wise manager, whom the master puts in charge of his servants, giving them their food allowed at the proper time? It'll be good for that servant whom master finds him doing so when he returns. Truly I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But suppose that servant is wicked and says to himself, "My master is staying away a long time," and then he begins to eat, drink, and get drunk with drunkards. The master of that servant will come in a day he is not aware of, and will come in an hour he is not aware of. He will come to pieces in a sunny place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So before I go any further explain this chapter, the main thing is to remember is Matthew 24:36. I do believe we're in the season for this. There's a lot of people trying to put days and times when it's going to happen. There's a verse from 2 Thessalonians 2:1 that says, "Don't believe everyone who claims that the day of the Lord has already occurred, even if they claim to have a spiritual revelation, a prophecy, or word of knowledge." There's a lot of false prophets on YouTube spurting out garbage and stuff like that. But there are wars going on. Like it says in Luke 21:11, there's famines, pestilence, earthquakes. The mentality of people in 2 Timothy chapter 3, being cruel, hating what is good, being reckless, being filled up with pride, loving pleasure rather than God, acting religious but rejecting the power that can make them godly. Just ultimately, I got to tell you, it's just Mark 13:37, when Jesus told his disciples, "What I say to you, I say to everyone, watch." When it does finally happen, it's going to come like a thief, like it says in 2 Peter 3 and 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. So just be like those 5 wise virgins who kept oil in their lamp. Don't be lukewarm like it says in Revelation 3. And just watch and pray. That's all I got to say. Bye.